too fast. Too fast. 13 weeks in, we've already had our Thanksgiving meal, and now we're heading into December. This is the grueling month of that cold December month, as it's freezing here in Houston, by the way. Nonetheless, let's not waste any more time. These are the picks for how everybody did just during the week of Week 13. Mighty impressive. Most of the pack winning record, if not better. The exception, there were some losing records, but 13-3. Give a shout out to Thanasis for going 13-3 this week, man. Not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Kenneth also went 13-3. Want to give him a shout out as well. And yeah, this is the very ending of the season here. As the weeks get harder and harder, the picks get more confusing and confusing. And it's make or break for a lot of us. Look, I went 11-5. Hey, all power to me. I actually ended up taking my division this week. I can't believe it. This is the first time I've been leading my division all year. See, there I am. And look at how competitive my division is. It's a 5-game differential between first and last. I think Division 15 is by far the most competitive division, I think, out of all the rest of them, with no disrespect to the rest of them. Now, let's add all the records. When you add all the records together from week 1 through 13, this is what you come up with. And these are the records for each week as we go by. Look at the Nations just flexing that camera as he's got a big lead. And we're going to get to the picks of week 14. Because like I said, this year has gone by too fast. Duke and Eagles fan for life are just killing it. Killing it in Division 6. It's going to come down to, I think, the final week. Kenneth finally overtakes Aaron, and he's got the division lead. So there is some new division leaders. Jesus had a big lead, but Green Bay Chris is coming right behind him. Jesus had a bigger lead than that. Maybe Jesus didn't walk on water this week. Knock on wood. And, of course, you got James Linquist. He's got a big lead. JL 103 is just killing his division. I mean, I think he's just going to cruise on by. J-Love, the same thing. And he just cruising in his division. Cruising World USA. I used to like playing that game, by the way. J.D. Court and Laporte are battling out. Look at Anthony Shin with his bad self coming out of nowhere. Was dead last in his division and now is in third place. Kim 123, man, your lead's not so comfortable, man. You had an 8-9 game lead. You've let Devers creep up on you, man. You've let him creep on you. And, you know, Gabrielle's just come out of nowhere. I think he's tied for first place so far, and that was a household name that nobody knew about, Gabriel, the Pats fan. Just like the New England Patriots are all of a sudden, just like all of a sudden the New England Patriots are 11-2. Who the hell saw that coming? Danny Golden's got a small lead. Bathurst has come out of nowhere. And look at myself. I didn't expect to be winning my division. I'm barely winning by one game, but I got less points than second, third, and fourth. So if they were to tie with me, they'll pass me up. Hell, even fifth place has got more points than me. I got the second least amount of points in my division. So if there was a tie, I'd be second to last place based on those points. And that's how those points kick in. Everybody's been asking me, how do these points kick in? I'm like, well, it kicks in based on how high you're ranked in the division, and it adds up at the end of the year when tie-breaking scenarios occur. And then you wonder why, when there's a 15-way tie, your ass is sitting at last place. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the picks. But before we do that, I want to play a little music. Let's see. Let's get it started, man, because I want to get some picks. I get fired up for some reason. We'll go over the NFL standings and my thoughts of the teams that are at the top. And we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and get to the pick. All right, so let's play a little music. I got to get pumped up. All right, we're heading into Thursday, December 4th, if I'm correct. It's going to be Dallas at Detroit. Now, who would have saw the Dallas Cowboys beating the Eagles, beating the Chiefs, bro? I didn't see that coming. Detroit Lions was a household name last year. It's, you know, number one in the NFC now. They're might not make the playoffs. Go ahead and give me the Dallas Cowboys for the upset to go into Detroit, pull the win off against those Detroit Lions. I have a hunch, man. I got to go with my gut on this one. Sunday games, December 7th, you got Seattle at Atlanta. I mean, is there any really to break down anything here? Sam Darnold, 2,913 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Go ahead and give me the Seattle Seahawks to go 10-3. I saw you, Brandon Rogers, at the game at the Seahawks Minnesota game. I hope you had a good time, man. You guys blew the brakes off their ass, by the way. Titans. Oh, wait. The next one is Bengals at the Bills. Joe Burrow is back. He's back, and he's been a nemesis against the Bills. Remember, he won a playoff game in Buffalo. And this is kind of like that, it kind of gives me shades of gray of that, a rematch of that playoff game. But I think it's just a little case it's too late. Joe Burrow has been out for most of the year. I know he had a good game against the Ravens on Thanksgiving. Not questioning that. But I don't think the Bengals are going to carry that same momentum going into Buffalo. Buffalo is playing for a playoff spot. They know what's at stake. I think Buffalo is not so great at home in the playoffs, but they're probably a dangerous road team. That's a team I want to avoid in the playoffs. But go ahead and give me the Buffalo Bills to go into Cincinnati. I mean, to defend home against the Bengals and get the win. Now we got Tennessee heading to Cleveland. This is the Tank Bowl. Both teams suck. They're both fighting for. I don't know if Cleveland's even tanking at this point. I know Shedeur Sanders is going to start. I like Shedeur Sanders, and I hope it works out for him. Tennessee Titans, they have really nothing to play for. I don't even really think they're capable of winning this game, even against the worst of the teams. Give me the Cleveland Browns to defend home, and they will get that fourth win. They will beat the Tennessee Titans in the month of December. Give me the Cleveland Browns. Washington Commanders at the Minnesota Vikings. This is another shitty game to watch. Both teams are fighting for draft positioning. When you get confused, you just go with the home team. I really don't have a gut pick in this. Give me Minnesota at home. I mean, is there any real reason to pick either or? Give me Minnesota at home. Miami Dolphins at the Jets. Another shitty game for this year. I had the Jets in this pick, but I'm going to go ahead and switch, even though I'm going to keep it in Athletic Dashy's Pick'em League for the Jets. But in my Pick'em League, I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins to go in New York and get the win. But it wouldn't shock me if Jets win this game. This is a division game. Either team can win. I don't really give a shit who wins this game, to be honest with you. I'm going to go with the Dolphins just for the picks. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay should win. You know, I know Baker Mayfield's hurt, but the Bucs are better than the Saints by a long mile. They're way more talented than they are. Bucs are the best team in the NFC South, my opinion. I think they'll win the division again. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win over the New Orleans Saints. Indianapolis to Jacksonville is going to be game of the week. Argumentatively game of the week. Both teams are 8-4. They know what's at stake. AFC South title. Both teams are going to come in playing very well. But I think that fracture and that tibia that Danny Dimes has is going to limit his ability to stay as a mobile pocket passer, which that's fine. But I like the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. I know, you know, Travis Hunter's out, but I still like the Jaguars to defend home court. I think they're a lot better this year than in previous years. They're both 8-4. They know what's at stake. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars to edge the Colts in my game of the week. I'm going to go ahead and go with Jacksonville to defeat the Indianapolis Colts. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. And this is my rivalry game of the week that I picked in Athletic Dashy's tournament. Both teams are 6-6. They're both fighting for the AFC North title. It seems like neither one of these teams really want the division title. And it seems like even if they do win their division, they're not going to go really far in the playoffs. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I really don't know who's going to win this game because I really think that the Ravens could just, you know, of course, win at home. But they lost last week to the Bengals, man. And Pittsburgh usually plays a little bit better than 500. They haven't had a losing record in 15 years. They haven't had a losing record under Mike Tomlin. And, you know, my gut is telling me Pittsburgh goes into Baltimore wins. But I'm playing it safe for my Pick'em League. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Baltimore Ravens to beat Pittsburgh. But my gut is telling me that Pittsburgh's going to win. I don't know why, but I think they'll win. Next is Denver Broncos at the Raiders. The Broncos are argumentatively like the second best team in the league behind New England, but I mean, they're still got equally almost the same record. The Raiders are completely a clusterfuck. No offense, Raiders fans. It is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and go with Denver. Is there a reason not to pick the Raiders? To pick the Raiders? No. Denver's going to go in and they're going to destroy the Raiders. This is not a trap game. It's not going to happen. Denver goes in and they get the win. Chicago at Green Bay. This is another great game right here because both of these teams know what's at stake. They're fighting for the ability to win that NFC North title. Green Bay knows that they have to defend home court, and the Bears know that they have to continue to win if they're going to want to continue to be the best team in the NFC. Right now, they're currently in first place in the NFC, and I might as well say I'm very impressed by the Chicago Bears that they have managed to be 9-3. I think it's their first winning record in like 9 years or something like that. I must say I'm impressed by the Bears. They look like the 2006 Bears, the one that went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Colts. I mean, could that be the case here? This is going to be an interesting conversation to have in December because usually the Bears around this time are being talked about as possibly being, the top 5 draft pick. Now we're talking about the number 1 pick in the league, a number 1 team in the league. I'm sorry. They go to Green Bay. It's going to be a tough environment. I know the Bears won at Philly the prior week, so they got some really good wins against good quality teams. But I like the Packers at home. I think the Green Bay Packers defend home court. And those fans is going to be snowing. Of course, both teams play in the snow. But I like the Packers. I like Jordan Love. I think Green Bay and Chicago is going to be it's going to be a real good defensive game. But I got the Green Bay Packers winning at home. LA Rams at the Cardinals, and Rams lost last week. I think at Carolina, if I'm correct. Is this another trap game? Absolutely not. The Rams go in, they take care of business. I think that they realize, oh shit, we lost at Carolina and we should have won that game. Now they're going to Arizona, which should be an easy gimme game. They're going to get their 10th win of the season. I think the LA Rams take care of business and they get the win. Give me the Rams. All right, what do we got next? Texans at Chiefs. That's going to be what, the Sunday night football game. Um, I like the Texans. They got the number 1 defense in the league. We're 3-3 on the road, so we struggle a little bit on the road. We're going at a tough environment in Kansas City, a team that we do not match up well against. I don't even think we've won in Kansas City in our 24-year history. I think we might have won back in like '06 or something like that. If I'm correct, I might be wrong. Fact checkers check me on that. But the Chiefs are 6-6 at home. They're also fighting for a playoff position. I know the Texans got a great defense, and it would be great if we can put a stop to Patrick Mahomes. He's approaching 30. He's got 3,200 passing yards. He's going to have a 4,000-yard passing season possibly. He got 22 touchdowns for this year already. That's pretty amazing for Patrick Mahomes. They're hosting a Houston Texans team who is hungry, who is determined, who is not giving up. And CJ Stroud had so much rest. Really, he could have sat out last week of the Colts, and I think we could have won. But this week, we are coming for blood, and I think that the Texans are going to give the Chiefs hell. But I think that the momentum stops here, the buck stops here. I think the Chiefs find a way to beat us. We just don't match up well against Kansas City, and I'm going to have to go with my gut. I'm going to have to go with the Kansas City Chiefs to beat us and end the streak. And I think we'll be fighting for, or at least attempting to fight for that last spot. Give me Kansas City to defeat the Texans. Eagles at the Chargers. This is Monday Night Football, December 8th. Eagles and Chargers, both 8-4. This is going to be a damn good game. Both of these teams are going to come in. They're going to fight hard. You want that 9-4 start. You definitely do. You want to go to 9-4 because why? It's 1 win away from 10. Every win at this point counts. I think the Chargers. I don't think they know realistically. Okay, we're going to win the AFC West, but I think they still want to compete for a wild card position. They don't want to open those floodgates. The Philadelphia Eagles know that the Cowboys are right behind their ass, and Dallas is coming up out of nowhere for 2 games back, right? With still 5 games left. So both teams know what's at stake. Chargers are fighting for a wild card position, and Eagles are fighting for that division. They're to stay relevant in that division. They need that division title. And nonetheless, I think it's going to be a very close, hard battle. But I think at the end of the day, I think the Philadelphia Eagles get it together. I think they know that desperation mode is kicking off now. They've lost 2 games in a row. They did that earlier in the year, and then they started winning a ton of games, and then now they've lost two in a row, and I think that might be the case again. I think Philadelphia Eagles still are the team in the NFC East that still wants to win that division. Go ahead and give me the Philadelphia Eagles to go into LA Chargers and win. So I'm just going to go over my picks just real quick, and then we'll go over the standings real quick. I got Cowboys to win in Detroit for the upset. I got Seahawks to win in Atlanta, Buffalo to defend home against the Bengals, Cleveland at home against the Titans. I got Vikings to beat the Commanders at home, Dolphins to win at the Jets, Bucks to win over the Saints, Jaguars to defend home against the Colts. That's gonna be a damn good game. Ravens to beat the Steelers, even though my gut is telling me pick Pittsburgh. Denver to win in Raiders. I got the Packers to fend off the Bears. I think it's going to be a close game, maybe like 26-23. Rams to defeat the Cardinals. Chiefs over the Texans. And last but not least, the Eagles over the Chargers. So we're going to go ahead and go over the standings real quick. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. I'm tripping. I went to NCAA football. What was I thinking? Even though I am a big fan of college football, and we got a lot of championship games this week, 9 championship games. Looking forward to the Ohio State game. I'm looking forward to it's Ohio State, Indiana. I'm looking forward to BYU versus Texas Tech for the Big 12 championship. And then I'm also looking forward to, the SEC championship, Bama and Georgia. So those are going to be some very good games. So look forward to going into the weekend as well. So you got college football championship week, a lot's at stake. For playoff position and stuff like that. People have asked me, do you think the Longhorns get in? And my answer hadn't changed. It's going to be no. I think with 3 losses, it's going to be hard to convince the committee. There's too many 2-loss teams that deserve it, I think, more so than us. I think Vanderbilt, Miami deserve to get in. I think one of them gets snubbed because the winner, North Texas, and Tulane's going to get in as an automatic playoff bid from the non-Power 5 conference. It's going to snub that 12 seed. So if you're Miami and Vanderbilt, you're probably going to need Alabama to lose the SEC championship game with 3 losses, and perhaps possibly Miami or Vanderbilt jumps to 12 as a result, and the other one gets kind of cookie cuttered out. And could that mean that Bama's going to miss the playoffs if they lose to Georgia? Now, if Bama beats Georgia, I think they're both in, because Georgia would only have 2 losses, and I think that they would get in. But it's definitely going to be I want North Texas to win, but I like Tulane. Tulane's a good team too. But it's definitely going to be some nail biters here. Now let's go back to the NFL. Let's go over to playoffs and just kind of go over it. The New England Patriots, very impressive, I must say, for the most part. They're 11-2. Number one, who saw the Patriots coming out of nowhere? Does anybody want to show hands on that? The New England, is Tom Brady playing under Drake May? Is he has a Drake May mask on? It's like, surprise, it's Tom Brady. It's like, oh shit. It's like Patriots are showing the old ways, man, when they used to win. And could New England fuck around and win the Super Bowl? I was watching that game. I know it's against the Giants, and the Giants are terrible, but man, New England's got a goddamn good team, man. They got a damn good team. And again, New England is a surprising team out of nowhere. I had Eagles and Bills at the beginning of the year, and now that doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Looks like it's going to be New England, and I still think in the NFC, it's like crabs in a barrel bucket. Bears are probably playing the best football, but does that mean they get in? And it's still, that's going to remain to be seen in that case. Could we be looking at a Patriots-Bears Super Bowl? I don't think that's amongst the popularity. It's kind of too early to tell, but it's looking like it's Denver and New England for the AFC Championship game. I think New England's slightly better than the Broncos, though. The Texans could have beaten them. If we'd had Stroud playing, we would have won that game. And we barely lost with Mills. Just saying, FYI. Jacksonville's in 3rd place, so they would be hosting the Colts if it started today. Great AFC South matchup right there. Baltimore would host the Chargers, and Buffalo would head to Denver. These just would be some good games. Texans would be sitting right outside of the playoffs, barely missing it. It's going to be a nice little foot race from here on out. There's a lot of teams that are, fighting for trying to get in, the top 7. And only, if I believe, 5 teams are out. That's Raiders, Titans, Saints, Giants, and Cardinals are out. I don't know why the Commanders aren't out at 3-9. They should have an elimination there. But, next week we'll probably be having some more elimination rounds. You got the Bears that are 9-3. You got the Rams that are 9-3, and the Eagles are 8-4 at 3. So if the playoffs started today, the Bears would have a bye. The Rams would take on the San Francisco 49ers. So it's an NFC West showdown. Eagles would take on the Green Bay Packers. I like that matchup right there. Jordan Love heads to Lincoln Financial Field, right? And Tampa Bay at the 4 matchup would be hosting the Seattle Seahawks at the 4-5 matchup. So this is a pretty impressive so far, as every team has played between 12 and 13 games. Can you believe New England is 11-2? They're barely getting their bye. I mean, what an advantage that gives you to have a bye in week 13. Like, we're going into week 14. Versus teams have to take their byes in week 5, week 6, early in the season. It's like, I think you got a good advantage if you got a bye later on in the year. To me personally, it gives you an advantage. Yeah, I had to give you Athletic Dashy. I had to give you an extra win because I didn't add it on for the previous week, remember? So I had to give you an extra win. So just FYI, had to. Anyways, so for NCAA football, just going to go over the rankings real quick. Let's say schedule. No, scores. Because I want to see the championship games. Give me a second. Because I'm trying to mute this. But yeah, I just muted on here. I'm going to go over the championship games real quick.
We lost communication.
Okay, I muted it. All right, North Texas and Tulane. That's going to be a good game. That's for the Friday game. That's going to be for the AAC championship. That's going to be a damn good game. Tulane is, I think, I want to say Florida. And North Texas is up there by Dallas area. I'm going for North Texas to pull it off. But I like Tulane, too. I like both of these teams. But the winner of this, they get in the playoffs. So I like that. I'll be pulling for North Texas because I'm from Texas. So I'm going to pull for my Texas teams. Kennesaw State will be taking on Jacksonville State for the Conference USA. I really don't give a shit. Give me Jacksonville State. Troy and James Madison. I'll take James Madison to win the Sun Belt. I'll take North Texas to win the AAC. Mountain West, Boise State, UNLV. I'll go ahead and go Boise State at home. Mountain West Championship, baby. And then the Saturday, December 6th games, the Big 12. I like this matchup here. BYU against Texas Tech. I talked about this earlier in the video. Both teams are going to play really hard. Give me Texas Tech to edge BYU 24-21. I'll take Texas Tech over BYU. Miami, Ohio against Western Michigan. MAC championship. Give me Western Michigan. I really don't care about that game. You got Georgia and Bama. Hold on. My bad. Georgia and Bama. I'm going to go ahead and go with... damn it. I guess Georgia to win the SEC championship. I think they're going to get the rematch against Bama, and this time they're going to want to win. I don't think Bama's going to go in and win 2 against Georgia. I think they'll split. Georgia win the SEC here. Now, the question is, if Bama loses, do they remain in the top 12 as a 3-loss team? And then people are going to say, well, they're getting penalized for playing their championship game, so they deserve to stay in. Now, Bama's 10, do they move down to 12? Does that mean the Tulane, North Texas winner gets 11 instead of them getting 12? Or does possibly Alabama get out and Miami jumps Bama for 12, or Vanderbilt? So that this is going to be the big question is on the committee. But, of course, if Bama wins, Bama's in, and then Georgia loses at 2. But I don't think they're going to move out of the playoffs. I think if you're Miami and Vanderbilt, you're rooting for a 3rd loss to Alabama. Absolutely. I think you're rooting for that. You're rooting for Bama to lose if you're Miami and Georgia Tech. Or Vanderbilt. I'm sorry. I like both of those teams. I want both of them to get in the playoffs. But if you're both of them, you're rooting. You're rooting literally for Bama to lose. And if Bama loses, do they get knocked out? Then does that mean Miami or Vandy get in? This is going to be a big question mark heading into the college football week. Indiana, Ohio State, both teams are 12-0. I think no matter who loses, they're still going to remain in the top 12. They may move down slightly, but they'll be in. But I think Ohio State takes Indiana. Indiana's only really played one top 25 team, I think, if I'm correct. Their schedule was kind of Humpty Dumpty. Ohio State, I think, is just a lot better than them, but I'm not going to say that they have like the best offense in the league. But at the same time, I think Ohio State will edge Indiana like 24-21 for the Big Ten championship game. And then Duke and Virginia, now many people say, well, if the winner of this gets the ACC. So Virginia now, again, they're 10-2. They win, even though they're 18, but they win that ACC championship. That gets kind of factored in. So if does Virginia all of a sudden jump Miami and jump Vandy and automatically get in with an ACC? I mean, I'm just saying, I'm throwing out all these scenarios. It's going to be an interesting conversation, I think, for the college committee to have. That's why, I like the top 12, don't get me wrong, but I'm more of an advocate for the top 16. And I think if you were to do this, it would be a lot better. I think, to me, if you did a top 16, you could do the top four power conferences, and then you could pick two non-power conference winners to get in. So like James Madison would get in if they won their championship game, and then the winner, North Texas Tulane, would get an automatic bid. And then you can still, you would have your 6 teams conferences get in out of the 9, which that wouldn't be too bad, right? And then you would still have the door open for 10 additional teams at large bids to get in. So that means you could get in a Miami, a Vanderbilt, a Texas, a Utah. I think USC sitting right outside of 17. So of course, then that would be, there's going to be the question of 17 and 18 and 19. And sure, there's always going to be those questions coming out, about who deserve in, whatever. Yeah, really, there's no path to a championship for college football. The only way you would do that is if you had 9 power conferences and every team that won their conference gets in. To me, that makes sense. But then 9 is an odd number. So then you would say, okay, well then what about the other? How do you even that out? Well, then that's why I say expand it to 16, do 9 conference champions, 7 at-large bids, you got 16 spots. To me, that seems like it would be more of a reasonable conversation to have, even though they would question the at-large bids. But at least winning your conference gives you a path to something. It's saying, hey, you win your conference, sure, you get in. Like the NFL, like Ravens and Steelers are both 6-6. One of those shitty teams is going to win, right? So if that's the case, then you can make the argument, well, did they deserve to get in because they won their crappy division? And I know NFL, there's only 32 teams, so it's a little bit better to simulate that based on the argument, well, you won your division. There's not that many teams anyway. So I get it. I get why there's going to be a little bit of, back and forth on this topic of college football because there's 136 schools. Even if you expand it to 24, which I hear the Big Ten, they made a proposal the other day about the big 24 tournament. As a fan, I fucking love it. I would love it, but again, from the college player standpoint, they probably say, well, if we get injured, then we lose our NFL draft stock, and then we want money, and we want more money to play in these games if we're going to risk everything, right? Because they're still risking their career. I mean, I get it. I get both sides of the plate. I'd say 16 would be reasonable. That would be, to me, a reasonable number of teams, but I would say, as a fan, top 24 would be great. Because then more of your bowl games mean something. Nobody's going to watch any bowl game that doesn't pertain to college playoff game. You got 11 college bowl games out of the 43, I think, that are going to be played bowl games. So that means 32 don't mean shit, right? So if you expand it to 24, that means you have 23 bowl games that mean something, which is damn near over half of the bowl games would have some sort of meat to it. To me, if on college football, there's just so much money on the table for you not to do this. And that way it opens the door for all these other schools to recruit. It makes the even level playing field, to me. But if you did a top 24, just imagine who else would get in. You'd have Vanderbilt, Texas, Utah, Virginia, USC, Michigan, James Madison, North Texas, and Tulane. Arizona, Navy would get in, and Georgia Tech. The only team that would be out is Missouri. They'd be the only oddball out. Are people really going to debate about should Missouri get in over Georgia Tech? No. So that's why, to me personally, unless you're from that school, probably. If you're from Missouri, you're going to probably argue. I get it. But most people are not going to argue if it's a top 24. Are you really going to be arguing over the 25th spot, the 24th? I don't really think so. That's why I think the college expansion, it makes the most sense. It only makes the most sense. At least if you have a rank, you have a chance. For decades, they've been doing a top 25 poll and everything. Wouldn't it make sense to base a playoff format off of that poll? I mean, to me, you could even do the top 25. If you got a rank next to your name and it's the end of the year, you're in. And you say, well, 25 teams is kind of a little hard to do that. Well, not necessarily. You can still do that. You just give the top 7 a first round bye. So 8 would play 25, 9, 24, 10, 23, 11, 22, 12, 21, 13, 20, 14, 19, 15, 18, 16, 17. Boom. There you go. That'd be your first round. And all the higher seeds would host. So if you're ranked 8 through 16, you would be hosting that game at home. So you would have Virginia and USC. Michigan would go to Utah. James Madison would come to our house. North Texas would come to Vanderbilt. Miami would host Tulane. BYU would host Arizona. Navy would go to Alabama. Notre Dame would host Georgia Tech. And Oklahoma would host Missouri. That would be an awesome first round, wouldn't it? And then the winners of that would be joining the top 7 if it remained the same: Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Oregon, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. And then you would rank them accordingly. So let's just say if it was all the higher seeds won, Ohio State would host Virginia, Indiana would host Utah, Georgia would host Texas, a rematch. Oregon would host Vanderbilt, Texas Tech would host Miami, Ole Miss would host BYU, Texas A&M would host Alabama. Wow, what a game that would be. And Oklahoma at the 8-9 matchup would be playing Notre Dame. How would y'all not like this format? Somebody go tell the college committee to make this shit. There's just too much money on the table. I'm telling you, I predict we'll see a top 16 real soon. But if the Big Ten is proposing a top 24, sign me in. Sign me in. I'm game. I'm game. I got my wallet book here. Let's do it. Let's make this shit happen, bruh. Anyways, so we got the the college football. We'll just go over the NBA real quick. Just kind of look over things. Really, the Eastern Conference is sort of a crapshoot, barrel in a bucket. Any of these teams are going to come out of the East. I'll be honest with you, that are at least in the top. There's really no dominant team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, yes, Detroit's got the best record, but they don't even look like they're dominant. They barely beat the Hawks the other day by 1 point. I get it. It's 20 games in, but still, in the East, it's a crapshoot, barrel in a bucket. You put all the names in a hat, pull one out, they come out of the East. Simple as that. There's no cookie-cut winner. For the Western Conference, I think it's a little bit of a different story. You got the OKC Thunder who are 20-1, and they play Golden State tonight at 9 o'clock, and I think they win that game. Curry's out. I think Thunder cruise by for their 21st victory, winners of what's going to be 13 in a row. Can they be stopped? They're 10-0 at home, 10-1 on the road. Their only loss was to Portland. The LA Lakers are looking nice at the second seed. Rockets are 3, Denver's 4, San Antonio 5. I think OKC is the clear-cut winner to win. I think if it wasn't OKC, it'd probably either be Lakers or Rockets. In my opinion, those are the 3 best teams in the league right now. Is OKC, Lakers, and Rockets by a long shot. I think every team is a crapshoot, barrel in a bucket. But like I said, we're just barely in the start of the season. The first 20 games, But yeah, OKC Thunder's on fire. They're most likely pinning injuries. I hope everybody stays healthy, by the way. I think OKC is going to win the whole thing again, bro. They're going to win. They're going to repeat. They got the best team right now. There's no team that's going to beat them. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and head out of here. I gave you all my picks. Went over college football, went over NBA. I'll see you guys later in the week. Y'all take care.